What's up? What's up, everybody? What's going on? I'm the Kid Gowie, here with the game day to bring you the hot topic of the week. And the hottest topic of the week seems to be this James Harden situation. Harden wants out of Houston, but the Houston Rockets aren't trying to give him away until they receive an offer that they deem is equal value. Even with the new NBA protocol, James Harden has been seen partying with Little Baby as if he was a member of 4PF. The Washington Wizards are currently sitting at the very bottom of their conference with a record of 0-4. So where exactly are they going wrong? Now don't get me wrong, by no means am I saying Westbrook has been the most efficient. I mean, that man's put up enough bricks to get a part-time job at Home Depot. After about 5 games, Dub Nation had a list of excuses that they couldn't wait to fire off after their team's slow starts. But Golden State turned things around in the nick of time. So the question that some people may be asking is, what changed? The answer to the question is Draymond Green. You know, Mr. Triple Single. Draymond is criminally underrated as a playmaker. Not only is he vocal on the court, but he also has the ability to facilitate an offense. This week's hot topic is the disappearance of Kyrie Irving. Kyrie was caught in 4K, dancing and living it up at a family party. No mask, just a huge smile on his face as if he just hit the lottery.
Stay off the weed.
So the question that comes up is, what do the Brooklyn Nets do from here? Well, the answer's simple. It's the only thing that you can do, and that's play the waiting game and actually communicate with Kyrie Irving so he can come to the realization that he's not just wanted, but he's actually needed. As for Kyrie himself, I get it. Sometimes you gotta step away from the madness to protect your peace. Dennis Rodman did it, and the Bulls went on to win their 6th championship. This week's hot topic is the blockbuster trade that should have happened. During the offseason, the Philadelphia 76ers were very adamant about not wanting to part with Ben Simmons. But as of recent, it's been reported that they actually had a deal in place that included Ben Simmons. And if you remember from our first video, I said Tillman Fertitta was in fact the problem in Houston. Does it seem any clearer now?
Hello, I'm Tillman Fertitta, and I'm going to talk to you about 5 of my most favorite Tillmanisms.
This week's hot topic, is Shaquille O'Neal just another bitter old man? Or does he actually keep it real? After putting on a good performance and walking away with the W, Shaquille O'Neal told Donovan Mitchell to his face in a post-game interview that he didn't believe he has what it takes to reach the next level.
You are one of my favorite players, but you don't have what it takes to get to the next level. I said it on purpose. I wanted you to hear it.
Imagine busting your ass to get a W and leading your team to one of the best records in the league right now just for somebody to rain on your parade post-game.
What do you have to say about that?
All right. That's it.
Like, damn, bruh, where the love at? This week's hot topic, should the Washington Wizards free Bradley Beal, or should they force him and Russell Westbrook to figure it out? The Washington Wizards are currently one of the worst teams in the NBA, but there seems to be light at the end of the tunnel because Russell Westbrook says that he's finally feeling healthy, and as of late, he's been performing like his old self. But Bradley Beal, on the other hand, it's obvious that his patience is running thin.
I mean, that says it all right there. Just absolutely spent.
Since the Free Bradley Beal campaign gains traction after every single loss, Brad decided to come out to the media and say that he does not want to be traded and he wants to win in Washington. I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. I don't believe that. This week's hot topic, how much should we buy into the LaMelo Ball hype? But LaMelo Ball himself is averaging just shy of 23 points per game, just under 7 assists per game, and 6 rebounds, all while shooting 51% from behind the arc. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but those don't sound like rookie numbers to me.
No one in practice can guard me, so it's really nothing. Just put the camera on him. That man right there, that's the man who can't guard me.
The kid has been so phenomenal to this point that people are already unanimously naming him Rookie of the Year. Some are calling him an NBA All-Star, and Nick Young, former NBA player, has even called him a top 10 point guard in the NBA right now. This week's hot topic, should the Lakers begin to panic after losing Anthony Davis for a few weeks? As we all know, Anthony Davis is a perennial All-Star, but he's expected to miss 2 to 3 weeks due to an Achilles injury. This could be a very good thing for players like Montrezl Harrell and Kyle Kuzma. Over these past couple years, Kyle Kuzma has really struggled to figure out his role on this team. But with AD out of the lineup, this is the perfect opportunity for him to really showcase what he can do. Whether starting or coming off the bench, Kuzma will earn himself extra minutes and he can really showcase the type of player he can be in this league and prove that he deserves to be a Los Angeles Laker. Because as of right now, Laker Nation only view him as trade bait.
My manager runs into my room and wakes me up. It's like, yo, we good.
Right,
yeah.
right.
This This week's hot topic, have the Brooklyn Nets finally found their groove? Or is this another streak that will be ruined with disappointment? Ever since the James Harden trade, there has been a lot of questions around the Nets organization. How will they make it work with 3-ball dominant players? Will it be a toxic environment? How can they win games without having any defense? So on and so forth. The Nets have definitely had their struggles this season, from the injuries to Kyrie's excused absence.
Hold on. What time is this with Jay Electronica? Is Jay Electronica?
How concerned are we actually? I mean, you already have two guys who are damn near averaging 30 points each, and you're winning games without arguably the best scorer in the league in Kevin Durant.
You really just been working on your game. Yeah.
I mean, that's 90 points right there. This week's hot topic is the progression of the New York Knicks. We're a few days away from All-Star break, and believe it or not, the Knicks are actually in playoff contention. And it's mainly because of the production of their all-star forward, Julius Randle. Now, if you actually paid attention to Randle over the years, you knew that he was a solid player and he was progressing. But no one, and I mean absolutely no one, expected him to be franchise player worthy. He's currently leading the Knicks with his 23 points per game, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, while shooting 41% from behind the arc. In other words, he's on the verge of hitting multiple career highs this season. And trust me, those fans in New York are not taking this lightly. This week's hot topic, if Andre Drummond were to hit the buyout market, which team would he go to? Andre is a quality talent, most known for his rebounding, and there are plenty of teams right now that could use his help. For example, he can go to a team that isn't even a contender, but they're willing to invest in him long term and pay him a large amount of money. But the reality of the situation is, if you have goals to win an NBA championship, you have to go to a championship contender. And as of right now, things are looking very scary in Brooklyn. You definitely can't forget about the Los Angeles Lakers while healthy. They're still the reigning NBA champions. This week's hot topic, with CJ McCollum returning from injury, how dangerous can the Blazers become? A couple months ago, no one really knew what the fate of the Blazers would be with CJ McCollum and Yusuf Nurkic out. Most would say that the odds were against them. But in sports, when you're a team with a next man up mentality, anything's possible. And that's exactly what the Blazers have become. Even though I wouldn't trust the Blazers to defend a fish out of water,
when you flip this over, instantly the line's gonna drop. So as you flip it over,
I do trust them to get buckets. And like the great Bill Russell said, the game is and will always be about buckets. This week's hot topic, how much will injuries dictate the outcome of this season? It's almost like watching your favorite actor promote a film, you go see the film, and you find out they die within the first 5 minutes.
Where the f*** is Ben?
So now you're just watching a film of a bunch of people you don't really care about. Although that movie could still turn out to be good, it just doesn't hit the same because you don't have the person that you wanted to see. And basically, that's what we've been dealing with in the NBA. You have superstars like Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid all out. This week's hot topic, after a couple games, which teams seem to be the winners after the trade deadline? Like always, the NBA trade deadline was a crazy one. Heading into the deadline, there were plenty of teams that had their specific struggles that they just couldn't seem to fix with the roster that they had. Especially if you look over in Boston and see that Evan Fournier played 33 minutes and had 0 points.
Stop taking threes, you idiots! None of them go in! All right, how we doing? Celtics about to lose.
This week's hot topic, does the NBA bubble have any effect on how teams are performing this season? Now hear me out. Right off the bat, some of you are probably thinking, what does the NBA bubble have to do with anything?
bro, yo.
But really sit back and think about it. We have to keep in mind that the break in between the bubble and this season that we're currently watching was very short. So when you think about the teams that had a longer offseason than those who were actually in the playoffs inside the bubble, it kind of makes you think maybe the bubble plays a factor into it. This week's hot topic, Steph Curry passes Wilt Chamberlain as the Warriors' all-time leading scorer. First and foremost, even though the Golden State Warriors are currently outside of playoff contention, I personally do feel like Steph Curry has shown enough to at least get his respect as an individual.
What'd you say? Keep going.
And it's very weird that I even have to come out and say that, considering that Steph Curry is a 2-time MVP and 3-time NBA champion. But what can't be denied is the fact that he's the greatest player in Warriors history. Now, some people are going to troll and discredit Curry because he's the greatest shooter of all time. He took a lot of threes, Wilt didn't have to. Well, Let me rephrase that. Wilt wasn't actually given the opportunity. But anyway, this week's hot topic is based off the rumors that the Miami Heat have been concerned for months over Tyler Herro's growing celebrity status. Last NBA season, Tyler Herro really made a name for himself. After one season, this man landed a sneaker deal with Nike, bagged himself an Instagram model girlfriend, and has a gold record named after him.
Is that $1 million?
Yeah.
Oh, this is $1 million right here?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, we got a lot of money to spend.
I think it's safe to say that the hype was definitely real. But here we are, a season later, and that hype definitely seemed to die down. Miami Heat fans are being ridiculed for potentially missing out on star players like James Harden and Kyle Lowry, and Heat fans themselves have been very vocal about their frustration.
That's a nightmare.
This week's hot topic, will the Fighting Washington Wizards have what it takes to make the playoffs? Throughout this crazy NBA season, the Washington Wizards have had their fair share of struggles, with Bradley Beal averaging 33.5 points per game, while Russell Westbrook is still maintaining that 20-point triple-double.
I don't give a about the line. You lost.
The Wizards are currently sitting in 10th place of the Eastern Conference, which makes them eligible for the play-in tournament. Which means if they continue to fight and they fight their way through the play-in tournament, there's a very good chance they could be facing the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of the playoffs. And just a reminder, they split the series during the regular season. This week's hot topic is the resilience of the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets have been one of the most consistent teams over these past 3 seasons. They always seem to find themselves in that top 3 seed in the Western Conference. But in this particular season, things have been a lot more impressive than the previous years. Not only are they playing leapfrog with the LA Clippers for the number 3 seed, but they're also still getting it done without their second go-to man. Since the injury, the Nuggets are 9-2, but since the month of April, they're 12-3 without Murray. Now don't get confused, that's not to say that they're better without him, but it definitely speaks volume. I mean, at this point, can we all agree that Nikola Jokic is the clear frontrunner for MVP?
Have you been in these sessions before? I've said this like 10 times. He's magnificent.
This week's hot topic, Russell Westbrook passes Oscar Robertson for most career triple-doubles. Throughout his NBA career, Russell Westbrook has been one of those guys who gets heavily criticized for the things that he can't do. He can't shoot, he can't avoid turnovers, he can't get past the first round, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But even with the constant reminder of his struggles, nobody on this planet can deny that Russell Westbrook is a first-ballot Hall of Famer.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Aside from being Mr. Triple-Double, career-wise, Russ is arguably the greatest player in transition, the greatest rebounding guard of all time, one of the greatest playmakers of all time, and as of late, he's become one of the best vocal leaders in the league today. And we definitely can't forget his non-stop hustle. In sports, there's always going to be players whose impact was much bigger than whatever trophies are sitting on their shelf. Allen Iverson, he doesn't have a championship ring, but he's easily one of the most influential players of all time.
I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice.
This week's hot topic, will the Los Angeles Lakers reign over the NBA once again, or will they fall short? Now, first and foremost, if you didn't watch that play-in game between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Golden State Warriors, you definitely missed a classic. Not only did it feel like a battle for the 7th seed, but it also felt like a battle for the throne. During this MVP level season for Steph Curry, people have been calling him the best player in basketball. And even though they have respect for one another, LeBron James took that personally.
Thank you.
Considering that he hit a 30-plus foot jump shot right in his face for the game winner. Now don't get it twisted, LeBron's game winner was extraordinary, and it further proves that he's one of the clutchest players to ever play the game. This week's hot topic is about the scorching Phoenix Suns. In my previous video, so you know they're gonna be hungry, especially Devin Booker, who's been waiting for this moment his entire career. I stated how competing against the Phoenix Suns wouldn't be an easy feat whatsoever for the Los Angeles Lakers. Things got a bit frightening for Phoenix as Chris Paul continued to struggle with that shoulder injury.
50 times?
More.
100 times?
More.
200 times?
More.
500 times?
Probably.
He continued to play, and he showed up in clutch moments. As a matter of fact, at the age of 36, Chris Paul is one of the oldest players to ever put up 20 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds in a playoff game. Now, we all know the dynamic that Chris Paul brings to the Phoenix Suns. As a matter of fact, the moment they acquired him, we all knew that they would be playoff contenders.
First things first, too, I'm not just coming in here trying to teach everybody. Like, we here to hoop, we here to compete.
But I don't think anybody saw all of this happen. This week's hot topic, which NBA player would you consider the biggest All-NBA snub this season? Yes, sir. You already know what time of year it is. It's that time where the NBA hands out awards and fans get so distraught because their favorite player may be going home empty-handed. Fans had their debates on who should have won MVP, who should have won Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, so on and so forth. They left off guys who are currently playing today, and not only are they playing, they're dominating, like Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. And they also left off guys who went off this season like Zion Williamson, Jason Tatum, and Russell Westbrook.
Truly disrespectful. I mean, it's just a disrespect to the game, man. I think it's something that needs to be brought up.
With that being said, once again, I'm gonna be fair. I personally don't believe there should be any changes to the first and second All-NBA teams. If you're gonna put somebody in, that means you have to take somebody off. Because, like I said before, you're selecting from a group of guys who also deserve to be there. This week's hot topic is the NBA Draft Lottery. If you're an Orlando Magic or Oklahoma City Thunder fan, you're probably not happy with the results of the NBA Draft Lottery. First, it's only right that we get into the Detroit Pistons.
Detroit basketball!
Just when Detroit basketball began to lose hope, over severe things of course, like Killian Hayes' injury, Blake Griffin's buyout, and watching Derrick Rose go to the Knicks and make the playoffs, the Pistons have finally been blessed with their first #1 overall pick in 51 years, which basically means that Detroit has so much leverage in this year's draft. If they decide to sit on the pick, they could take a Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, or Jalen Suggs. But they could decide to trade the pick, and if they do, they could possibly acquire a young star that they can pair with Jeremy Grant, and they can build around the both of them. But I'm gonna tell you one thing, don't make the same mistake you made in 2003.
The Detroit Pistons select Darko Milicic.
Don't get too risky. This week's hot topic, which NBA trade rumors seem to be the most realistic? Just like every other year, the closer we get to the NBA Finals, the more we start to hear free agency and trade rumors begin to surface. And when it comes to NBA fans today, pretty much every damn player in the league is tradable. For real, it only takes two things. One, you had a terrible postseason performance, so everybody wants you gone.
Y'all ain't met playoff P yet, huh?
Or your postseason performance was so good that fans think you deserve better, so they want you gone. Another unrealistic name on my list is Damian Lillard. Yes, I get it. The thought of Dame Time going to another city is very exciting. But the way that man's loyalty is set up, Dame said it himself. He doesn't run away from the grind. And even though there have been reports of there being tension between Dame and the front office, I ultimately expect the front office to do right by Dame. So I'm gonna have to piggyback Yusuf Nurkic. If you ruin a relationship with a player as loyal as Dame Lillard, good luck recruiting players to have interest in joining your franchise, as well as keeping the players that you currently have. In other words, I'm also scratching Dame off my list because I don't think the Portland front office is that stupid.
With the first pick in the 2007 NBA draft.
Now on to my 50-50 guys, Ben Simmons and CJ McCollum. CJ may have been disappointing in the playoffs this season, but that does not change the caliber of a player he is. Also, you can't put all the blame on him. Portland's Achilles heel for the past 3 or 4 seasons has always been their defense. So it's been very odd to me to hear CJ's name brought up in trade rumors and hearing all the slander, because in elimination games, CJ has been one of the most consistent, if not the most consistent player on the Blazers roster. But now that they have Norman Powell, it isn't unrealistic that they sacrifice CJ McCollum to bring in a wing player to help them defensively. As for Ben Simmons,
if you average 18 during the regular season, you can't drop it to 5. At least gotta be 18, 19, or 20.
His playoff performance was inexcusable. This week's hot topic, how does this year's NBA Finals affect the legacy of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Paul? Since both teams are now in the NBA Finals, what does this mean for the legacy of both of their star players? How about we start with the 26-year-old freak from Greece, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Right off the bat, Giannis is a 2-time MVP, which means he's undeniably one of the best players in the NBA. But over the past few years, he's received a lot of criticism for underperforming when it matters the most. For me personally, underperforming isn't the correct term that I would use. I would say he was unable to get over the hump, because Giannis always shows up, but the difficulty came with his supporting cast.
You know, we try to be good examples. I don't know. We've been here. People know us.
Which further explains why they broke the bank to get Drew Holiday. All that basically means that Giannis finds himself in a pretty good position to finally prove himself. So now that Giannis has finally been able to reach the biggest stage in basketball, oh, it's your time to show out. Because if you don't, whichever narrative people were spewing is going to stick. For the people who are saying that you are an alpha and you're a Batman, if you win the NBA Finals, that's going to stick. And for the people that say that you're not an alpha and you're a Robin, that's going to stick if you lose. So, you know, weigh your options. That's where your legacy lies.
It's easy to go and win a championship with somebody else. But I could go to a super team. But this is the hard way to do it, and this is the way. And we did it. Did it.
Mwah.